Hello everyone, my name is Stephen Yoakam, and I'm hoping this finds you all safe and healthy. I'm joining you during this virtual event to talk about some of the work that Literacy Minnesota has been doing with their adult learners in the classroom, and more specifically about the project that I was involved with our adult collaborators. A little bit about myself. I'm a longtime member of the Twin Cities theater community, starting at the Mixed Blood Theater back in the 70s, and then from the mid-1980s on at the Guthrie Theater and many of the other theaters around town. And when it comes to learning and reading, this goes all the way into the DNA of my family. I come from 4 generations of teachers. So this was a pleasure to be involved with and collaborating with these folks. We started off talking about the power of story, where story comes from, how story is generated. And of course, we all know the root of the word community is to commune. And story started all the way back at the beginning of man, of course, when people sat around the fire talking about the news of the day, talking about everyone's health, talking about travel, who was going what, when, and where. And of course, we all know that we read stories to our children when they were little. We were read to when we were little. And so we started about talking about the power of story and where story comes from. One of the most exciting parts for me about this collaboration was these stories were generated by these folks themselves, the folks who were in classroom at Literacy Minnesota. Whether it was poetry, whether it was a narrative, whether it was a shared history about family, the exciting part is that the generative artists in the room were the learners themselves. So it was really exciting to talk about where we talked about the structure of story. We talked about how to clarify the story or the poem. We talked about rhythm of language. We started very small and built our way up. We did articulation exercises. We got up on our feet to get comfortable with being in front of a group of people talking. Of course, one of the most nervous times we could have in our life is getting up in front of people talking. And indeed, in my experience, it's even more nervous when we're in front of our friends and family. So we started very small, as I said, doing articulation exercises, sharing our stories with our group, with ourselves. Everybody was very collaborative. Everybody was pitching in, helping each other about what was clear, what wasn't clear. And we started in very small spaces. We started in one of the smaller classrooms, and then we expanded gradually into larger and larger spaces so that the voice would start to carry more, so that everybody knew that their physical presence had to be a little bit bigger to fill a little bit bigger room. And so it was a wonderful learning exercise along the way. I learned a lot myself because I was very interested in learning English as a second language, what it was about the English language that was difficult, that presented challenges. English is not the easiest language in the world to learn by any means, and so that I learned a lot about that. And I think one of the most important things about the end result is that we're not able to gather right now. We're not able to commune. But I know with these folks that I was collaborating with, and you're going to hear some in the virtual event from Loretta and from Miriam, is that when we're all able to gather again, to commune again, people are going to be very hungry for story. They're going to be very hungry for the spoken word. And so I found this whole process very powerful and very much a wonderful collaborative learning exercise for everybody, including myself. So thank you and enjoy.